After understanding the sorting, next we have what if analysis. And this is very useful tool when you are dealing with data analysis using Microsoft Excel. So how we can access this? First we understand this what if analysis. So it is available with data, and then we have ribbon forecast, and we can go with the what if analysis. Uses it allows user to change the formulated value to the target value. What does that mean? We will understand it by example. It sets the input value and determines the possible results. So you consider a condition where you have multiple inputs and you want to have the results for all the inputs here. So it is not necessary that you provide everything into table. You can actually test the inputs as well. So you are changing the input and then checking what will be the resultant for the corresponding input. In that case, we can easily use what if analysis functionality of Microsoft Excel. So we have three options available with what if analysis, that is scenario manager, goal seek, and data table. So if it is visible here, we have scenario manager, goal seek, and data table. Let's have the a practical analysis of what we have with the what if analysis. It's a simple workbook here. The data set will be provided to you. So what we have here, we have different values with us. We have price for a certain product, and we have the quantity here. This is total revenue, transport cost, and then item cost, and this is the total cost, and the last we have the profit. Now this is the formulated data. Here in the slide also it is mentioned that it allows user to change the formulated value to the target. So we have some kind of a formulas here. So all the values here, we have a different values here. Total six value, that is for price, quantity, total revenue, transport cost, item cost, and total cost. And then we have the profit ultimately. So all these values are related to each other. We can consider it is a value for a product, and let me name this product as maybe alpha. I'll give this name as alpha. Let me write here, and so I will be giving name as alpha to this product. So let's change it to alpha. So this is the price for alpha. And then now see, this is the $32 here, or we have a rupees here, 32 rupees price of this alpha product. And in the quantity, it is 100. You can see this formula bar here as well. So we have price as well, we have the quantity as well. And when we talk about the quantity, or when we talk about the revenue, total revenue is multiplied or multiplication of two number, that is E6 and E7. So E6 is price, E7 is quantity. So total revenue, I will be writing here in the description as well. So revenue is price multiplied by quantity. So this is, here we have given a formula here. So according to that formula, what we are doing, we are calculating the revenue for the product alpha, and that revenue is based on price into quantity. So even if I do here $30, so I have some corresponding output here. I'll go back. So this is for the 32 rupees. Then this is the total revenue. After that, I have some of a transport cost, and that transport cost is again dependent on the revenue. Revenue is my E8 value, and that is 10% of the revenue. So I will be writing here 10%, 10% of revenue. So how revenue and transport cost is associated? Transport cost is 10% of the revenue generated, and revenue is price into quantity. This is the formula here. Then I have the item cost here. In that item cost, what we have the formula? This is 20 multiplied by E7. What we have in the E7? E7 is the quantity. So this product is costing as item cost as 20 rupees each. So total cost is 20 multiplied by E7. So I will be writing here 20 into quantity. 20 into quantity. So I am writing here all the formulas so that it is easy for you people to understand how we are calculating these values. Then in the total cost, we have E9 plus E10. E9 is what? We have the transport cost and then item cost. So this is we are calculating here. So I E9 and E10 we are adding up, that is transport cost. I'm writing here again transport cost plus item cost. So this is the total cost I'm having here, transport cost plus item cost. And then we talk about the profit. Profit is E8 minus 11. E8 is what? E8 is total revenue. So total revenue minus total cost. Total revenue minus total cost. So this is the profit generated by product alpha, and we have all those formulas here. So now if this is my product and I want to maximize something, I want to maximize my profit, in that case I need to have some inputs as on the price, like what should be, I should keep my price, maybe can I increase the price of this alpha product or not, should I decrease the price. So what I need to do, every time like I need to test something, so I am making it 29, then I am seeing my profit, I am making it 32, then I am seeing my profit, if I am increasing it, then I am seeing my profit. So this all calculations you need to do. There is another option, that is what if analysis. So now see this description again, it allows user to change the formulated value to the target value. So if I want to fix my profit, like I want the profit as 1000, here I can do some testing. Let me increase it to 35. So this is something greater than 1000. If I make it 34, in that case it is 1000. Let me make it 33.7. Then I'm getting something. Then let me make it 33. Then I'm getting less. So 33.5. So this is like I am testing every time. So rather than that, I have something here, that is what if analysis. So what if analysis, this forecasting thing actually makes easy for me to do all these kind of calculation. It sets the input value and determines the possible results. Let's see how we can do that. I'll be going back to data. In that data, I have this forecast ribbon. In this forecast ribbon, I have what if analysis, and we already know that we have three options available, that is scenario manager, goal seek, and data table. If I read the description given by the Microsoft Excel scenario manager, we have create different groups of values or scenarios and switch between them. So let's try that first. What we have here in the scenario manager. So in the scenario manager, we need to provide some input first, and accordingly we can give the scenarios here. So let's try that. I'll be clicking on that scenario manager. Now I have this window here. This is known as scenarios. No scenarios defined for now. Choose add to add scenarios. So by default, it is not having anything, but we can add it here. This is changing cells and the comment. So let me add here. If everything is disabled for now, I'll be clicking on the add. Here in the add, I just need to provide some scenario name. So let me provide here as maybe I want to do some changes on the quantity. So I will be writing here QTY quantity, and then in changing cells, what actually you want to change, what you want to change here. So I want to change maybe quantity only. So according to the quantity, we want to do some profit thing. And here then what I will be doing, scenario name is QT, that is a short form for the quantity, and in the changing cells I am writing here quantities, I am passing this E set, and then it is comment by default, it is giving taking my system's name created by IT admin on 16th February. So you can change it to something else as well, but for right now I'll keep it as a by default. And then I'll be clicking on OK. So now enter values for each of the changing cells. Now instead of 100, what I want to have, if I make it 200, so instead of quantity 100, if I make it 200 and I click on OK. So this is my first scenario has been added here. This is my first scenario has been added here. If I click on show, in that case, I am getting the same output. You can see here 6400 is the result for the, now profit has increased to something else. Let me add other things here. In the scenario name, again I'll put QTY. Changing cells will be again this E7 only. It's the same comment here. And this is already there. Let me have this value again. So I'll have a show value here. I'll click on show. This is the quantity. Already we have something here. Let me edit here this time. So E7 is there. I'll click on OK. This time let me provide 300. So I want to change it for another scenario. This is, let me show. So this value for 300 is shown here. So in this way, I can have multiple scenarios here. Let me add one more. This time I'll make it QTY1 and same cell, same everything. And this time I'll make it 400. If I add, you can add more values as well. So this is QT1. I'll click on show, so you can have the resultant for 400. Similarly, I can change any other value as well. So let me change the price here. This time I'm changing the price, and the changing cell will be E6. E6. Comment I'll keep the same, and I'll click on OK. And instead of 32, let me make it 40. So this is my value here. I'll click on OK, and I'll click on show. In that case, I'm getting the result here for another value. So this is the value. This here we need to provide the according value, and then we can do the resultant thing. Let me come back to the same price. So I'll be providing it here 100 only, and I'm having this result. So let's try once again what we have, the what if analysis. Scenario manager, we can actually add the scenario. Let me delete this, all this, and we can try more values here. I'm deleting everything. So by default, what I have all the fields here blank. We can add the scenarios here. I'll click on add. Here I need to provide a scenario name, that is QTY. For example, in the changing cell, I'm providing E7. Comment is we are having same as provided by default. It is IT admin for my computer's name, and today's date it is picking up, and I'll click on OK. And then you need to provide some values for each of the changing cells. So for E7, let me provide a value 200. If I click on add, then again it is giving me option to add some more scenarios. This is we are adding here, and then we are doing the changes here. And in fact, if I need to do, let me delete this as well. I'll click on add scenario name. Again, I am providing quantity, and control plus click cells to select non-adjacent changing cells. So if you want to have some more range, you can provide that as well. Let me click here price and quantity both, and I click on enter and OK. That case, now I have two values. So what I can do, so price, let me make price as 40, and quantity, let me make it 200, and click on OK, and I'll click on show. So I have the output like this. So you can have multiple values as well. So I have not taken revenue, I have not taken transport cost, I have not taken item cost, I have not taken total cost, and as well as profit also, because this is based on a formula and have the price and quantity as a fix. So these two values I am providing. So whatever the changes you want to do, if you want to have multiple scenarios, you can add it here. So you can do all the testing here. Basically, with this scenario manager, you are providing different inputs and then having the results for the formulated cells with you. This we can do with the scenario manager. I have deleted everything, and I'll close this. Next, we have second option, that is goal seek. What do we have in the goal seek? Microsoft Excel says that find the right input for the value you want. So let me click on the goal seek. Now we have a set cell and two will by changing cell. What we are doing here, so as clear from the name, it is like we are targeting, we are setting a target here, and for that target we need to see something. So now we are setting the target for set cell. Which is the set cell? We are setting the target maybe for the profit. Okay. So this is our profit. What it should, the value should be maybe 4,000. So I want a 4,000 profit with this data set. And what you want to change, let me change the price here. Price I want to change. So this is my target here. What I have done, I have set a target. This is what is the target cell is, that is 3,200. This is profit, and what value I want, I wanted 4,000. And which cell I need to change, I'll click on this 40 price. I'll click on OK. So it automatically calculated everything. So you can see here the target value is 4,000 and the current value is 4,000. How it happened? Goal set seeking with cell E12 found a solution. It found a solution that price should be 44.44, and then you can have a profit like this. Okay. So I'll click on that. Same, we can try with different outputs as well. Again, I'll set a value profit as, let me have this 95,000, but I want to make changes in the quantity this time, and then I'll click on OK. So this is now quantity is done. See, now if you need to do this work manually, you will be trying different inputs. Now Microsoft Excel is making your life so easy and just providing you solution with a simple click. You just clicked on and then you are getting the result here. So this way we can set our target as well here. Let me take some more examples now. So once I click the close, it is coming to the basics only. So initially we were having 32, then 100. So again, I have this 880 as profit. I'll go back, what if analysis in the goal seek, setting the value. So this time, let me set the value for maybe transport cost. So this is 10% of the revenue. What I want to have the transport cost, like I want to have it, let's try some other changes. I want to have it as a 400. This is my 400 value. So this transport cost is dependent on total revenue. So total revenue is which cell we have by changing cell is. So this is again formula based. Let's try this. Will it work or not? So this is my E8. I will be writing here by changing cell as E8, and I'll click on OK. Cell must contain a value. Why this has given me this window? Because it is not a value here, it is a formula here, so it will not be working on that. For the goal seek, we need to actually provide the values here, and then we can apply here. So three options we are providing. Two are the ranges and one is the value. This is the where you want to have the set value. Cell we are providing here. Then what is your target and what you need to change. So this is the input form, this is the output form, and accordingly you are already telling to Microsoft Excel what should be the output. And then accordingly, this Microsoft Excel is calculating that particular input for you. This is the benefit of using goal seek. So in scenario manager, what we were doing, we were adding the scenarios for input, and then we are having that output with us. In the goal seek, what we are doing, we are providing the output and then they're asking the inputs result. So this is the difference between scenario manager and the goal seek. Next we have the data table. So this is again very interesting one. So what you want to have now, so before using this, so what I will be writing here now, so what I have in the profit, I have the 880 here. So in the quantity, I have 100. So for the quantity 100, I have the profit as 880. I'll be writing here. So this was for the quantity 100. Now, what I want to have, I want to calculate it for the quantity 200. I want to have it for 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800. 900, and let me take it for 1000 as well. Now I want to have the profit for all these quantities. So I can do it with the scenario manager as well, but every time I need to run it or I need to provide the scenarios. The other case, what you can do, you can actually write here all the data set here, and how you can do it here. So this is basically what, this is my quantity here. Let me write here quantity. So this is the quantity what we are giving. So 100 we already provided. This we have some other data sets that we want to see what will be the profit in case the quantity is increased in our business. So let's see here quantity. Now I will be selecting this. I'm selecting this range here, this 880, and then clicking on data table. So now this is basically my column level input. In this column input cell, what I will be providing, I will be passing this profit. This I need to calculate, so I need to see this the result. I click on OK. So I have something 880 as here, but it is not calculating it for other values. Let me click here once again, and then let's see what if analysis data table in the column. I'll click on the column here, column range, and let me provide this time quantity and click on OK. And it is again passing me the same resultant, that is 880. 880 with me. Right now, what we are having this 880 profit only. But what we need to calculate it for the different quantities here. So what we can do it now. So let me change this 880 to a value as provided in E12. E12 is now based on a reference based on all the formulas, that is total revenue minus total cost. So same I'll pass it to here. In that case, you can see here that we have the results here. We have the results as 1760, 2640, 3520, 4400, and all the changes are reflected here. So the profit is calculated according to the quantity. Let me click on the data and show formulas, or formulas as show formulas, and now you can see all the formulas here. So in the formula, see, E12 is written here and one table is referenced and accordingly it is calculated. What we have in the E7 we have the total revenue, the total quantity, and for that quantity the profit has been calculated here. Let me come back to the normal view so you can see here the output. Let me make it changes at 250. So my output has again changed, and I'll make it 500, and maybe this time I'm making it again. Let me do some calculation, some automatic calculation here to see the resultant here. So this is now quantity has been increased as 250, 500, 750, 1000, 1250, 1500, 1750, 2000, and 2250. And we have all the profits here. So we are not calculating it anyhow. This Microsoft Excel is doing for us. So this is the total what we can do with this data forecasting, that is what if analysis. This is our input and accordingly what will be the output here. So this is the data table because we were having all the quantities into the column. So that's why we have provided a column input cell, and that value was given as the quantity because we are changing the quantity and then we are having the profit. So let me change this time maybe the price. So what I want to have, so if I increase the price as 30, 60, and then let me take it to 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and 110. So this is my price, but here I need to change some formula as well. So I'll click on this what if analysis and data table. In the column input cell, what I will be providing here, this time instead of quantity, I will be giving the price. I'm passing the price here. Let me make the selection once again. So let me delete this. So selection will be like this here, and what if analysis data table, and then the column input cell I'm passing the price here and clicking on OK. So this is my profit here. So if I'm increasing the price from 30 to 40, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and 110, so this will be the profit with me. So all the, for if I have some data sets, like I'm running a business, I'm running a business for product alpha, and I have some things in my mind that should I increase the price, should I decrease the price, what should I do with the quantity. So ultimately I want to do the things with my profit only. What I need to do, I am focusing on my profit. So what inputs I need to change. So rather than doing all the manual calculations, I can provide a range, whatever the options, different options are available with me. I can test it with what if analysis. So what if analysis, we have total three options, that is scenario manager, goal seek, and data table. And from that, you can see everything here. So for the scenario manager, you can create different groups of values on scenarios and switch between them. In scenario manager, we can add the scenarios. Let's try this once again. So let me provide the input here. Quantity is changing cells should be this 100. That is what we have here, this E7. And then I can click on OK. Here I want to give as output as 200 and click on OK. I can add it here. And then maybe let me give another scenario, that is again QT quantity. This time I'm giving 300 maybe. Changing cell should be E7. I'll click on OK. Let me give it to 300 and I'll click on add. Then I have again quantity as 400. Changing cell should be E7 again. Click on OK. Value should be 400 again. I'll click on add, and let me take a last one, that is quantity as 500. Changing cell should be E7 then, and click on OK. Value should be here 500, and I'll click on OK finally. So this is, let me edit this as well. So this quantity will be 200 now. OK. So now, yeah, this is fine. So I have total scenarios, four scenarios, that is quantity 200, quantity 300, quantity 400, quantity 500. Now I have one more option here. So I can see individually as well for each quantity or each scenarios. Otherwise, the second option is that I can have the summary as well. So if I click on the summary here, so it will be asking me report type. It is basically providing me a report here. So result cells, I have some here. So I want a scenario summary. I'll click on OK. So I have a new sheet with me. So it is showing me all the outputs here. So some result cells are provided. So I have here, delete this, and we can go with a default version. I am not taking anything with the data tab. I'll delete this. And in fact, I'll delete this because till now you have understood how we have this here. I will be deleting this scenario summary as well. So let's go back to the scenario manager, what if analysis. Scenario manager, we have these scenarios here. I'll click on summary here. So scenario summary should come in a different sheet. So we have this sheets with us. Result cell I have chosen wrong. So that is why it is giving me this kind of a output. Let me go back and see the result again. What if analysis scenario manager. So this is, if I show the result here, you can see all the outputs are with you. And if I summarize everything, so let me have a summary here. In that summary, I'll have a results reports here, scenario in a pivot table report. So I can have that pivot table report as well. So we can see it in a summary. I'll click on delete here. Let's try the summary once again. So this time now we are setting some results here. We want to see some profit result here. So I have added the quantities here. How we added? We have provided a scenario name. We have provided the changing cells value. So we have given here what quantity we need to provide and then comment it as well. I'll come back here. So we have the quantity here. And now I'm clicking on the summary. This my report type is scenario summary. And in the result cell, make sure you are having the value for the profit. This is my output level. I'll click on OK. By default, it will be creating a new sheet as scenario summary with a good color here. So the changing cells is, this is 200, 200, 300, 400, 500. So you can see your different scenarios here. One scenario is quantity to 200, quantity 300, quantity 400, quantity 500. What the names we have provided. This was the input and this is the result with us. So profit has been given here. So we have the result with us for the different scenarios. So we can have a different sheet as well with the scenario manager where you are changing the value and then getting the output here. Okay. So you can have it for the multiple values as well. This is the functionality of the scenario summary. Let's try the pivot as well. What if analysis, and clicking on the scenario manager, clicking on the summary, then scenario pivot table report. In the results cell, again, we are doing it for the profit, that is E12, and click on OK. We have a new sheet with us. So this is the pivot with us. So this is the row label and then we have something with the output. So this is, we provided the input, the scenario name we provided, and then we have the resultant with us. Now you can see here that row label and E12. In fact, we can click on the scenario summary as well. We have some E7, E12. So it is not easy to understand for us what we have in this E7. You need to come back to your sheet, your main data, and then you need to see what we have at the E7, what we have at the E12. What is the another option to do that? Let me delete this for now and let's see what else we can do to have a clear understanding of the scenarios. So I'm deleting both the things, the summary as well as the pivot table. So in this sample, I have two things to consider. One is the input and one is the output. My input is residing in the cell E7. So now after coming to this cell, I have something here as a name box. In that name box, now I am writing quantity. Quantity. So this is my quantity. So this is the name of the cell now. Quantity. Let me do it again. It has not reflected here. Let me try QTY here. I'll click on enter. Yeah. Now it is done. So quantities, this name box is, this is no more E7 now. I have provided a name QTY to this cell. Then similarly for E12, let me write the profit. So make sure when you're writing a name in the box, then click on the enter, then it will be taking a name as here. So we have two names now, profit and the quantity. So E12 is profit now and E7 is quantity. Now let me repeat the steps again. So I am going back to my scenario manager. What if analysis, scenario manager. Here I already have the different scenarios, four scenarios. The name is QTY 200, 300, 400, 500. Where we are changing the values, different values we are changing it to 200, 300, 400 and 500. And now I'm clicking on the summary. In that summary, I'm going to scenario summary. So I'm not going with the pivot table report for now. Reporting cell is E12. That is perfectly fine. And I'll click on OK. So now you can see here, the name boxes you provided, that is quantity, this QT and profit is there. So it is now understandable for us what we have in the outputs. If you expand the selection, you can actually see all those comments provided by you. So if you have some other comments, you can see that as well here. In fact, we can go with this 1 and 2 as well, that we understood already in the grouping thing. So same we can do it here as well. So this is the scenario summary with us. By default, we are getting this kind of a formatting, and this is provided by Microsoft Excel. You can have some more changes as well according to your choice. So what we have in the what if analysis, scenario manager, goal seek and data table. So with the scenario managers, you can give different scenarios for different inputs. You can have the output according to the formulas you have provided into your sheet. With the goal seek, we are setting a cell value and then we are targeting, we are making a target and then we are telling Microsoft Excel to change the value here. And accordingly, we can get that what input should be provided. And if we talk about the data table, we can actually work on a range here with scenarios. This is about what if analysis. Here, we are already done with what if analysis. So just revise the concepts, data forecast, and then we have what if analysis. Uses, it allows user to change the formulated value to the target value, sees the input value and determines the possible results. Options, scenario manager, goal seek, and this is the data table. Next, we have text to column. So already we covered so many things here. Now, sometimes what we need to do, we are actually working with text files and we need to do some kind of analysis. There are many softwares also, simulators also, when they are having the output, they actually store into the text files. But when we need to do the analysis, we are doing into the Microsoft Excel or with the CSV files only. So how we can do that? Can we have that file in the correct format? So this is fifth data something I have. So I have some output like this. So this is showing me something that it is having the values in the same column or the same data set. So let me try to copy it into the Excel now. So I will be writing, I'll be selecting everything here. Control A and Control C, simple copy paste thing. So let me go to the opened one, that is my what if analysis. I'll have another sheet here, then I'm pasting here something. So I have pasted my data, and if you can see here, let me expand my selection. So they actually did that pasting in one column only. So this I assume if I see on this text file, what happened here. So I have the data something like that. This should be my first column, one. This should be my second column, and similarly, there should be some other columns as well. But when I copy pasted the things, I have the output like this. But then if these all values relate to different columns now, and it is not easy for me, in fact, it is next to impossible. I have some 700 records with me that I'll write it 1, 300, 1, or I do some kind of a formula that is not possible with me. But we don't need to worry. We have Microsoft Excel with us to help us out. The option is text to column. So again in the data tab, we have data tools and that is text to column. And If you read the description given by the Microsoft Excel, split a single column of text into multiple columns. For example, you can separate a column or full of names into separate first and last name columns as well. To understand this, we will try a simple option first. So let me write here. I'm writing here a name. Let me write something as Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So this is the name. So this is my text. Let me try text to column to this cell, to this column maybe. I'll click on text to column. So now to understand this, this is convert text to column wizard. This is divided into three steps here. So what we'll be doing, this text wizard has determined that your data is delimited. If this is correct, choose next, or so by default it is saying that your data is delimited. It is characters such as comma. So it is carrying something that it is having a commas or tabs or separate. So I'll go with the default. Yes, Excel, you're doing right. I'll click on delimited and click on the next. And then the screen lets you set the delimiters your data contains. You can see how your text is affected in the preview below. So this is something, if I select on the tab, I have the output like this, semicolon, output like this, comma, output like this. If I click on space, now actually it is identifying it into a column. It has identified the space, so I don't have tab here in between the text. I don't have that semicolon here in between the text. In fact, I don't have the comma here. So what we have the space. If you have anything, any other symbol, you can write it here as well. So I'll not go with the text qualifier and everything. By default, it is fine. It is fine to do with that. This was the second step of this text to column. I'll click on next again. Now, you can change the data format of the column as well. You can choose a general, text, date, and anything else as well. But this time we are going with a general only, the destination. Now, where you want to have your output now. This is your starting thing. This is where you have passed that text. Now where should print it? So let me have it here in the H. I want to have it into the H now. And then I'll click on next. Next is done and then finish. See, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam is reflected here. So output has been changed here. So basically you have converted your text into column. So in the same case, we can apply this text to column thing to our data set as well. So after understanding this, now let's start here. So I will be selecting this column and clicking on the text to columns. In that text to columns, now you can see that this again the text wizard has determined that your data is fixed width. Now it is having some kind of fixed width. That is why it is giving some output like this. If this is correct, choose next or choose the data type that best describes your data. I'll go with the default again. So I'm not going with the delimited, I'm going with a fixed width now. If I click on the next, now you can see that it has already provided your data like this. So this is for 1, this is for 300, the second column, third column, fourth column, fifth column, sixth and seventh column. So if data preview is okay with you, you can click on the next. Data format is also okay. I'll finish this. And now where most importantly, if you don't change the destination, by default it will be taking the same column and your data will be overwrite like this. If you don't want to do this, I'll control Z, text to column. So same thing I'll do, delimited, next, and here in the destination, I'll provide maybe the column C and click on the finish. This time you'll be not overwritten by the data. So you have all the outputs here. You have total how many columns now? You have total 7 columns C to I, and you can provide the row headings as well. You can provide the column headings as well to have your data in a correct format. So in this way, whenever we need to fetch something from a text-based file, we can have it into the Excel. And after that, we can use text to columns data tool to formalize your data into form of a table. If I go with that, now what I'm doing, let me delete this. I will be deleting everything from here. And then I can see here, this is my column here. And the same column, text to column, let me change the default thing now. I'm going with the delimited and clicking on the next. Now, space is the thing that has been recognizing. So if I click on the tab is not recognizing the text here, not the semicolon, not the comma, not the space, not the other thing I would say. But in the case of the space, it is actually detecting the data. I'll click on the next destination. Let me choose the C column. Make sure we are choosing the C. The format, data format, I'm choosing the general one only, and then I like click on finish. So I have chosen the C here, but C is blank now. Why C is blank? So let's see it again. Let me select the data here again, text to columns. So I'll go with the fixed limit, fixed width. Here we delimited, we need to choose. I'll click on next. In the space, you can see here space has identified that before starting this 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, it is having space here. So that is why for that space it has made one more column. That is why this we started with C and we have a blank here. I'll take you to the text file as well so you can see the blank here. So that blank is already also detected by Microsoft Excel. That is why it is making a separate column for this space, because in that way we did the spacing thing. We asked Microsoft Excel to identify the space and accordingly need to do all the changes here. So this is about the text to column, and in this way, this is making our all the simulator files accessible in Microsoft Excel. This is our text to column. So same it was showing here. So in this result or in this output, you can see we have the columns like month, year, client ID, team, country, sales, and expenses. So we can have the output like this here. And how we can do that? By clicking on the text to column, data tools, and text to columns. Steps, we can use the delimited one. We can have the fixed width, select the delimited or the width, and the data format you can choose.